I'm Sam Boone from Signet Breeding Services, and this is just a very short presentation talking about some of the trait leaders within the Hampshire Down breed for carcass traits. And when I mean carcass traits on this occasion, what I'm really talking about is abattoir traits. So taking the data that we collect for Ram Compare, of which Hampshire Downs have been a really important part in this progeny test as it's run over the last 9 years. So we're talking a little bit about some of the developments within this project. Ram Compare is a progeny test. We collect rams for natural service, we use some semen, and we use that across a range of commercial farms, collecting data from the individual matings at lambing time, 8-week weights, ultrasound scanning just prior to slaughter, and then we actually get the slaughter data. So that's the big advantage of this approach. All of that data is used to produce estimated breeding values and indexes, and that information is updated every month as part of our national genetic evaluation for Hampshire Down sheep. So lots of the data would be collected on pedigree ram breeding farms, but with the advantage that we also get abattoir data supplied to us as part of this work. Two really exciting developments for the Hampshire Down breed this year. One has been the full integration of abattoir traits into our national genetic evaluation. So we've fitted genetic correlations with the traits that we measure on farm, the traits that we measure up at the CT unit, and we use all of that genetic information to improve our prediction of genetic merit of Hampshire Down sheep. So these are the estimated breeding values. And you can see the ones you're familiar with: scan weight, muscle depth and fat depth in ram breeding flocks. There's our CT traits, and there are our breeding values for abattoir traits with relatively high accuracies because of the genetic relationships that we fit between animals. The second exciting development has been our collaboration with the Hampshire Down Sheep Breeders Association and getting Genomics launched. So those really well measured sheep that we know a lot about in terms of their breeding potential for growth and carcass traits, we have their genomic profile, we have information about their DNA, and we can integrate that into our breeding evaluations. In addition to that, we can use DNA collected on non-recorded sheep, and we can start using that to make predictions about the genetic merit of those animals that have not been measured. So a great way of integrating a breeding improvement program with the important work that's done by the association. So that's the information that we have. And we could talk about how the Hampshire has done compared to Suffolk's or Charolais or Meatlinks within any given year within Ram Compare. But at the end of the day, if you know you're heading out to buy a Hampshire Down ram for your flock, the important bit is where does he sit relative to the rest of the breed. So through our collaboration, sharing of pedigree and genomic information, we can now produce rankings for Hampshire Downs according to their genetic merit for days to slaughter or carcass weight or conformation. And that information is useful to breeders and also to Hampshire Down ram buyers. The information is updated every month, so I'm going to show a little subset of data, but within 3 or 4 weeks that will already be out of date. But let's have a little bit of a look. This is a bit of information about rams used over the last 2 seasons. So here you can see some of the leading sires for days to slaughter. Again, a negative value here indicating animals that reach slaughter weight more quickly, a couple of weeks more quickly. In this case on fast finishing systems, and you can see that this is closely related to some of the growth rate information that we have for these sheep. So that would be some of the fastest finishing Hampshire Down sires for days to slaughter. If we look at overall carcass weight, again you can see rams here that we've used on test. The court rams in particular from many seasons ago were really good in terms of overall carcass weight, but you've also got animals here that were good for growth and good for muscling characteristics coming to the fore in terms of overall carcass weight. And finally, conformation. So these are rams that ranked highly because of muscling, both across the loin and through into the jigget. So these would be animals that we would pick up again using CT data, abattoir data, the on-farm scans, and then integrating genomics to find those animals with superior genetic merit within the breed. So that's just a little bit of a snapshot. If you want to read more about what we're doing with abattoir data, then please head to the AHDB website. There's a range of publications that you can download and read at your leisure. And all the information for Hampshire Down sheep can be found on the Signet website. So put in the details of a ram of interest and you can pull up its breeding values. If you want to find the nearest Hampshire Down flock that's involved in performance recording to you, then the flock finder page, put in your postcode and it'll tell you who's recording in your area. Thank you very much.